Alright guys, see this deck? I gotta revitalize it. This is budget deck build. Gotta replace some boards. And I gotta strip this thing. I gotta replace some wood. Brace it. Make it sturdy and firm. I'll be able to paint over this, so I don't have to worry about stripping that. For some of these railings. That's sagging. We're gonna fix that. It's a huge project. I'm gonna write my leaf board. You guys see it before. I'm gonna have it looking nice. There's a sturdy foundation here. And we're gonna try to save this or revitalize it. I'm gonna replace some wood, but I'm gonna revitalize this deck. Look at this also. So you see a warp, how it's warp right there, and what caused that to probably damage was this. The foundation is still sturdy, that wood is still good. It's this. So we gotta raise that, probably bring a come along on or one of my jacks and raise it back to the height. We're gonna prevent that, so that's gotta be replaced. We gotta replace that wood, but we're gonna raise this up. This is okay. Just gotta stand this down. But we're gonna see how my sander works. So let me get a test spot so we can see which drum works best for us. So guys, this is just a test to see which one of these is gonna do the best job for us. I think we'll run this board down. We'll see how that looks. We'll start from here. We'll start from here and run it down. So this is a test to see how my drum sander will fare on this deck. This deck had multiple coats of deck paint on it, so I knew I was in or had my work cut out for me. I have multiple sanders, and just trying to see which worked best for this project. I could have rented a large sander, deck sander from Home Depot. They were all out, and of course, if I did rent it, I would have to use it for 2 or 3 days. And I opted to go this route. I didn't want to just wait for or to find one to go keep looking for a large deck sander. And you know, I love to work, so I didn't mind getting down and getting grimy to get this porch or deck sander down as best as I could, so I can start making all the fixes. This is maybe the 4th or 5th deck that I've done or worked on, and I'm not a deck specialist, but I'm very good at doing things and show you guys what I've done throughout this process. So right now I have a 220 drum, 120 grit drum, and a 40 grit drum. So right now I'm just testing to see which one works best when stripping all these coats of paint off. And ultimately, I kind of found out what worked best for me, even though it took some grit work and took some hard labor to do it. I found out what worked best. You guys will see that later on in this video. Okay guys, I remove top railing. Slowly but surely getting together. I have my phone out here. It's 90, a little bit over 90 degrees this early in the morning. It's baking hot out here already, and my camera shut down again. It shut down and flashed the temperature probe across the screen, letting me know that the camera is too hot and it won't record. So remove those. Those woods are good. Just gotta raise that up, stabilize everything. But okay guys, I'm gonna pressure wash it before I get to doing any sand. I'm gonna pressure wash it, let it dry out, and see what we get after we pressure wash it. This should help out a lot. So that's 3,100 psi, and we're gonna let loose with this and see if we got gas. Guys, when pressure washing the deck, one thing I found out years ago when I did my very first deck was I pressure washed it, and of course it removed the paint pretty good. However, I also knocked strands of wood out the deck board. I had a bunch of stringy, hairy strands sticking up and gouges everywhere because I got reckless with the sander and years back. Of course, you learn through experience with anything in life, and when using a pressure washer to remove paint from a deck, you really have to be careful because you can gouge it quickly or create a lot of strands throughout the deck, and you find yourself doing extra sanding work. It just creates a bigger job than you already have. So make sure you're careful with the pressure washer. So let's carry on. Getting some replacement boards for the deck. So I got some more pressure washing to go. Then I'm going to sand it with my sander, get it nice and smooth. This deck been painted I don't know how many times, but we're gonna get it nice and neat. Also, we gotta raise this beam. So I'm gonna come along, we're gonna pull it back, and we're gonna fix this. So I got it flush with this beam with flush, and I got the hanger on here. Because if you just put screws, like they did, if you put screws in here, it's just gonna sag right back down. So we pulled up where it was, exactly where it was. It wasn't all the way flush here, it was flush at the bottom. So I'll fill this in with some filler before we paint it. Got these washers, these are stainless washers to draw the wood into this wood. Okay guys, it was sinking in on this post because it dropped right there, but look where it so okay, let me make note of something before I continue on. The goal was to not take every inch of paint off. I didn't want the boards to look new. I wanted to get a great surface to work on, as you see I'm getting right now. And what I didn't show on camera was I took a pick a metal pick or a rounded chisel and my hammer, and I nailed every single screw down that was sticking up. It took 2 hours to do. I mean, every single screw in this deck, a lot of them was sticking up, and I nailed them all down because it was impossible to see the threads or see the marks of the screw or whatever kind of screw they use. It was impossible to get a drill bit on it, so I just nailed them down. But the goal was to not take every inch of paint off, and I was having great success with the drum sander, as well as the orbital sander. I know this is some backbreaking work, but I ultimately reverted to using the orbital sander, which I found amazing success with. It's just time consuming, hard, gritty work, and I didn't mind. I love it. I love just working. And I was using 40, 60, and 80 grit. Mostly 40 grit to start off to get the deck, in a presentable state, and then I ultimately went up to 60 and 80 to get it as best as I could. I said this deck is, I didn't mention this, deck is 20 some years old, and the goal was to get it as best I could, but just put the work in to prep it. Took the time out to use the orbital sander, just time consuming, gritty work, but felt great doing it, no problems. I'm in amazing shape, so that wasn't an issue. Just took the time out to do it, and I know a lot of people probably will stray away from using the orbital sander. Belt sanders are great as well, but just me personally ran with the orbital sander and just found great success with that. So that's what I did, and let's move on. On these metal railings, I'm using some 80 grit sandpaper on the orbital sander. Just found great success using the orbital sander on these rails. I was able to get in all the spots and around it. There was enough gap between them so I can get underneath them and work that orbital sander. But just wanted to sand them down. They had been painted multiple times, so the 80 grit was removing the paint with ease and stripping them bare to the metal. It got them just like I want them, so I can repaint them again and make them look really nice. And you guys will see all that in a minute. But yeah, using some 80 grit sandpaper here and the orbital sander on the railings.
Hey guys, I'm moving along. I ran out of paint for the rails. I want to paint the rails first before we put deck paint, so I have to worry about masking.
Pause right here to say that a lot of those metal railings, if you can look early on in the video, they were bent, so I have to straighten them out. You see that perfectly straight now, and I have to straighten them out before, I think before or after I start sanding, but I didn't show that, so I wanted to just say that.
But I got the railing on. And I just made that design up. There was nothing right here, so just made this myself, and I'll fix this piece back. Just my own little design, but these rails on. I'm working that saw. Love that saw. Same thing down here. We lit. So, about to start replacing all this wood here. This stair got to come up, and replacing these messed up stairs right now. That's it. I'm about to start painting a little bit. Let me hit these railings some more. That's what we're using. Color. Time to turn up. go start doing all these cracks. This stuff is crazy thick. Look at this. Time to turn up.
So as we started the paint and getting things done, as we kind of pushed to get this finished, because they were having a party within a couple days, so we were pushing to get this thing painted, and it started to rain on us out of nowhere. So we scrambled to get some tarps to cover up as much as we could. Luckily, most of the paint on the deck had started to dry, or dried for that matter. But we still had quite a bit of work to go, so we were pushing.
All right, guys, I'm wrapping this thing up. I ain't gonna show y'all much yet, but this is I'm using this as an end cap.
I pause here, guys, because I don't know if I noted or not. I want to make note of this, that every piece of wood I use is pressure treated wood, pressure treated deck wood. So I want to make note of that before I continue on. I didn't kind of say anything about that. Yeah, but using pressure treated wood here throughout the whole deck, for the whole deck.
For the bottom stairs to give it a little bit more stability. This what was here before. Just tore that off, and it's gonna go right there. So, and I'm also hand sanding these pieces down so I can paint those pieces just for the pool stairs. These are just for for the pool cleaning poles to hang up. So I'm hand sanding these down right now using some 60 grit and getting them right as I'm pushing through. Okay, guys, I'm gonna use some maybe 120 grit or 80 grit to get all of the scratch marks out of them before I paint them. This is the paint we're using. The choice I recommended to the customer. This is also the color on the railings. To me, this is as close as I can get to the privacy fence, to the gate, which kind of go hand in hand with. It's almost a perfect match, and it complements the color that I'm using. So you guys can get a better idea. You can look at the that cottage white, how beautiful it is on those rails, how it complements the gate, and it goes with the colorway that we're going with on the rails. So it's gonna look nice, and the pool's almost cleaned up. Okay, guys, I'm taping up all the rails so I can get the brush in there really nice and fine to do the meticulous work. Same this side. I'm taping them all up, leaving me a pull tab on each piece of tape. Okay, it's a wrap, guys. I finished those. So now I'm gonna meticulously paint all this stuff. It's a meticulous process, but just giving it my all, doing the very best that I can do. Okay, guys, you put the bottom cap on that stair, and it's been a wrap for me right now. I gotta do a small little few touches, but it turned out nice. Turned out nice. Turned out super nice. Look at these railings. Just mount that up. This letter for the pool. I like how this turned out. But that's it, guys. It's been a wrap. Look at those. Those are for the brushes and the nets and stuff to clean the pool. Look icon perfect. And that's it, guys. It's a wrap. Gotta remove that tape. This is still drying though. And yeah, it's a wrap. I've done the best I could with this to get it back presentable and nice looking. A lot of work and effort went into this deck to save it or to revitalize it. We have a sturdy, firm deck now, and it's nice looking. So yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. Gotta clean up now. Gotta clean up.
So I can't close out this video without showing the bad. This was probably about a week later, 2 weeks later, max. And this is the upper part of the deck. The deck that I didn't. That's not a new railing. I didn't replace that. And this paint was rolled on with the 6X Rust-Oleum decks coating paint. And I'm not fond of that 6X. That 6X was peeling up after a week later. I believe there was a nap roller used with this, and the 20X is still holding on amazing. Getting great results with the 20X, and we use that on the entire deck, and that's been great. But yeah, we're getting peeling already with the 6X, and it was rolled on. Maybe if it was brushed on, it probably would have still been holding on or sticking into place. But you can get away with some exterior paint on these railings, some outdoor exterior paint, and that will probably last much longer than that 6X. So just want to show that. But the 20X is the one to get if you're going to do something. That stuff is great. It really is. It's one of the best products out of all of them. And it still is requiring probably redoing every 2 or 3 years.